Shalom, we reading in a writings of Rubbish there. Article, if a woman inseminates you can. Find the study materials in our websites. On News Over and the Galaxy System you can. Ask questions live through our websites. Anyone asking a question in the study hall is asked to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth and speak loud and clear's article, if a woman inseminates the Holy Z. Asks, we learned that a woman who inseminates first delivers a male child. Said, we learned that the Creator sentences whether a drop will be male or female, and you say a woman who inseminates first delivers a male child. Th, we do not know the Creator's sentence. Rossi said, of course the Creator discerns between a drop of a male and a drop of a female, and because he has discerned it, he sentences whether it will be a male or a female, interprets in the letter. Commentary, they are free partners in a men, the Creator his father and his mother. His father gives the white in him, his mother the red in him, and the Creator gives the soul. If the drop is a male, the Creator gives the soul of a male. If it is a female, he gives the soul of a female. Discernment, that the Creator discerns in the drop that it is fit for a soul of a male or a female, is regarded as the decree of the Creator. He did not discern it, and did not send the soul of a male drop not become a male. The two statements do not contradict one another. Said, she will deliver a male child, but does she deliver because she inseminates? It depends on the conception. This verse should have said a woman who conceives delivers a male child. Rossi said a woman from the day she inseminates and conceives to the day she delivers. There's no other word in her mouth but whether child will be a male. Yes, should understand the above matter, knowing about a woman who in a woman inseminating first gives us and also so he tells us that the greatness of the Creator is that he knows how to discern between a drop of a male and a drop of a female. Is this the great of the Creator, which one should be inspired, and by which one will take upon himself to be a servant of the Creator? Also understand what is asking a woman who inseminates and conceives. It should have said, he explains a woman from the day she enamen and conceives to the day she delivers has no other word in her mouth but whether her child will be a male. That is, she's concerned about her child being a male. What us knowing what is in the mouth of a woman, if us what will happen if we know this concern of a woman, that she is worried about her child being a male. Understand all of this, we will explain what is written in the essay ref to the wisdom of a 57. The whole purpose of the restriction that took place in phase 4 was in order to correct it so there would be no disparity of form in it as it receives the upper light. In other words, in order to create man's body from that phase 4 through one's engagement in, and in order to bestow contentment upon his Maker, he will turn the force of reception in phase 4 into working in order to bestow. This equalizes the form of reception to complete. Bestow then will be the end of correction, since this will bring phase 4 back being a vessel of reception for the upper light, while also being in a complete adhesion with the light without any disparity of form. Yes, yet this requires one she incorporated also with the higher phases about 4 so is to be able to perform good deeds of bestow. This is because pH 4, which should be the root of men's body, was entirely in the form of vacant and empty space, the void of light. It was of opposite form from the upper light. Th, it is considered separated and dead. If man had been created from her, he would not have been able to correct his actions whatsoever, since there would be no sparks of Baal in him at all. Correct. This was a matter of the association of the quality of mercy with judgment, since the world cannot exist on the quality of judgment, as it is written that the world does not exist, meaning in this way it was impossible for men who was to be created from this phase 4 of the world will be corrected in the desired amount through this association. pH 4, the quality of judgment, was incorporated with the sparks of Baal in the vessel. Thus, body, which emerged from phase 4, was incorporated with the quality of bestow as well, and could perform good deeds in order to bestow contentment upon his Maker. He turns the quality of reception in him to be entirely in order to bestow the world will achieve the desired correction from the creation of the world interprets the association of the quality of mercy with judgment in theme. You already know that there are 2 points in mal. First is the point of mal of the first restriction, which was not sweetened in the quality of mercy and is therefore unfit to receive any light since the force of the screen and restriction rides over it. The second point is the point of M that was sweetened with the quality of mercy, which is all the lights that receives are from the second point. The first point is concealed within it and only the second point is revealed and governs it, which is why she is F to receive the R lights. For this reason is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil, since if one is rewarded it is good, for the first point is concealed and only the second point governs. At that time there is abundance in mal and the lower one receives from her. If one is not rewarded or he is a sinner, there is powering the serpent to reveal the first point in mal, which did not take part in Beaner. Then she is bad. Now we can interpret the words of the holies are concerning if a woman inseminates and deliver a male child. We asked, what does it teach us? That if a woman inseminates first she delivers a male child. According to the above words of this said, there are 2 forces within us: the quality of judgment, which is regarded as female, called the quality of mercy, which is regarded as male, namely a male force, meaning Theo, as sages said, as he is merciful so you are merciful. These 2 forces govern man, but at times the quality of judgment is concealed and the quality of mercy rules, and at times the quality of mercy is concealed and the quality of judgment rule. Should know that insemination is similar to one who sows wheat in the ground. The seeds decay and wheat that is good to eat begins to grow. We also try to fertilize the soil, by which the wheat will grow good to eat. By this we can explain the verse: if a woman inseminates, a person wants to begin the work to achieve adhesion with the Creator and wishes to enjoy men's food and not animal food. The order of his work should be will saw the woman in him the will to receive. He should throw his vessels of reception in the ground and try to make self-reception rot in the ground. More he fertilizes it, meaning tries to understand, feel that self-love is as lovesome to him as manure, and the more he tries to see the loneliness of self and wants his self-love to rot, this is called woman inseminates the female in him, which are the vessels of reception. This is what he buries in the ground, meaning he wants his self-love to rot. Then she delivers a male child, meaning vessels of bestow, by trying to cancel his vessels of reception, meaning self-love is rewarded with vessels of. This is similar to burying wheat in the ground so it will rot. By this you will later have wheat fit to be food for men. Food means that we enroy it, that is before one begins to work on the path of truth. He enjoyed only whatever entered the vessels of self-love. Now he enjoys things that enter the vessels of Ao, which is called food for men and not food for beast, which are beastly pleasures. This is called if he is rewarded. The quality of judgment is concealed, that is the will to receive is concealed and does not rule, only will to bestow, called the quality of mercy. Rules rewarded means that he wants to be refined, meaning bestowing course means the desire to receive because he wants to achieve the quality of mercy. He's rewarded with the vessels of reception disappearing, that as they do not govern, but rather the quality of mercy governs, which is called the stow and male. This is called she delivered the male child, where the child that is born through the woman's insemination, meaning by burying the will to receive in their ground, meaning that he wants to receive all his pleasures in vessels of pistil. So if the man inseminates first, the beginning of his work is the vessels of pistil, of which he consists from the root of the correction through the association of the quality of mercy with judgment. He desires to bury the vessels of hyzo, called male, and then she delivers a female. This means that then the quality of judgment is revealed in him, and it governs, while the quality of mercy called male disappears, and he is powerless to do anything with vessels of pistil. Time he eats only animal food, and he placed only in self love like animals, as if he SWS in the ground the vessels of reception called female food for men comes out, meaning the power to bestow, but if he buries the forces of bestow in the ground, then she delivers a female, and all his food is in vessels of reception regarded as she delivered the female. By this we will understand what Arabi replied to Arabi A's question. The Creator discerns between a drop of male and a drop of a female, and because he has discerned it, he sentences it to be male or female. What does that teach us, our sages? Said he who comes to purify is aided, and the holy source says with a holy soul follows that when the woman inseminates, first meaning that the beginning of his work is so, meaning buried the woman in him, in the ground, his will to receive for himself, and all his thoughts are only about how to get rid of self. Love, this is what he asks from the Creator. Then the Creator discerns whether the drop is of a male, meaning that he wants the Creator to give him vessels of bestow. That time the Creator gives him the soul of a male, that is, he gives him power from above called the holy soul, which he can become a giver if the Creator sees that his intention in the work of is to purify himself, because he wants to exit the impurity of self-love, and then the Creator gives him a soul of a male. If the Creator discerns that the drop is of a female, mean that the man innates first, namely that the beginning of his work is in order to expand his vessels. The reception, that root called the association of the quality of mercy with judgment, he intends only to receive greater reward through his actions, as it is written in the Holy. Said they ate his dogs, saying, give us the wealth of this world, and give us the wealth of the next world. Follows that his aim was only to expand the possessions that belong to self-love. It follows that by sowing, meaning by burying the incooperation he has with the quality of mercy, causes the quality of mercy, which is the force of bestow, to be concealed, is called place, and conceal the wheat in the soil, we becomes hidden in the ground. This implies to us that the force of bestow has been concealed, and the of reception is revealed. This is called she delivers or a female child. It follows that what Arabi said the Creator discerns whether it is a drop of the drop is a male or a female, comes to teach us that one should not say, I have been engaging in for so long and have been observing everything sight serious, but I do not see that the Creator is helping me from above. I can ascend on the degrees of holiness. Where is the help from above? Sages said he who comes to purify is comes and says about this that the Creator discerns what is the draw, whether if you want the work of Pisto or the work of a female, that all your work is in order to receive reward called, but in order to receive. One cannot say that the Creator does not hear his prayer. Creator hears and knows what he's praying, meaning that he does not want to bury his self-love in the ground at all. So how can the Creator give him what he does not want? There is no light without a vessel. Vessel means deficiency, and light is the deficiency. A person has no deficiency to feel that he has no desire to bestow. This is the essence of men's loneliness, which is removed from K and is unable to be rewarded with attention with the Creator. This is regarded as not having a vessel to receive the thing. This is why Rossi says that the Creator discerns which drop it is what a person wants the Creator to place there, which is light that is clothed in the vessel of bestow, namely that he gives him light so as to have the force of bestow or the force of reception. For this reason he must not complain to the Creator, because he gives one what one wants is, as S said, what is repentance, when he who knows the mysteries will testify that he will not turn back to F. This means that by the Creator giving him a soul of a male, so that he will have the power to bestow, the testimony of the Creator appears when he testifies that he will not turn back to fly, since the Creator has given him the by this one is certain that henceforth he will not work for self-love, but only in order to bestow. It is written similarly in the words of the Holy, said that he who comes to purify is, and this is what Arabi said, the Creator certainly discerns whether a drop is of a male or of a female, and because he has discerned it, he sentences whether it is to be a male or a female. She is regarded as he who knows the mysteries will testify that he will not turn back to folly. How can one come to want to bury his self? Love call a vessel, and the Creator will give him light within this vessel, mean the soul of a male, a vessel that comes by bearing the will to receive called. If a woman inseminates, it's very difficult for a person once he has been created to keep the quality of judgment revealed and the quality of mercy concealed. Beginning of man's creation is, and as in man is born a wild ass, the quality of in him is a black dot which does not shine. This reason he has no need or lack. That will be getting him a thought that he needs vessels of veil. Rather, his only concern is how to satisfy everything that self-love demands. If the Creator helps him to completely satisfy the will to receive, you will feel that he is the happiest man on earth. And what else does he need? Therefore follows that who can tell him that he needs or hold the desire to be and know he told that he needs that is name. Deficiency will now be what he meaning that he needs a lack, and the feeling will be receiving the lack. It follows that the names and light there only to the deficiency to understand. This should proceed with the words of our sages that a prayer is called work the heart. Why is prayer called work in the heart? The prayer is only with the mouth should interpret that a prayer is called deficiency when one wants his request to be granted, meaning to obtain a deficiency in that he has no need to want to bail, but rather all he wants is self love. How can one demand something for which he has no need, although he hears that he's told this is all you need? But if he does not feel it, what should he do in order to feel that he is deficient? Give us advice about it. Which is the work in the heart. Man says in his mouth that he lacks the desire to bestow, and the heart tells him that all he needs is to satisfy everything that self demands. Not think of deficiencies but of feelings. This reason he has a lot of work with his heart. Want to ask for a deficiency completely contradicts the will to receive, which is the very essence of their created being. At times the heart prevails, and at time the mouth prevails. It follows that then his mouth and heart are not equal, because we need to know that in the end it is the heart that governs man, not the mouth. This is why it was said that man must work with his heart. Agree to ask for a lack, meaning that the Creator will satisfy his lack. That here the feeling lack, this the meaning of that will satisfy his lack, meaning that the lack is regarded as thing. Now we can understand that the only way to obtain a deficiency that we lack the desire to bestow is by prayer, which is a medium between men and the deficiency. One prays for the Creator to give him something for which he has no deficiency. He will back. It follows that the vessel that is called deficiency is a deficiency with respect to the feeling, meaning that he does not feel its lack, and the prayer is that the Creator will give him the light, which is the filling of his lack. Therefore follows that the feeling is a lack has no other choice but to pray to the Creator to give him a deficiency. This is what connects the vessel with the light, is as the name of the ad of what Arabi Shimon said. The writing should primarily where the pockets are empty. Pocket means a vessel where one puts money. Pocket means an deficiency. Money means the feeling of the deficiency. If a person has no pocket, namely a deficiency, it is even worse than not having the thing, because he is regarded as being unconscious. It follows that where one has no sensation of lack because he does not have the vessel of the desire to bestow, he must hurry himself with prayer is the medium between the vessel and the light, meaning between a deficiency for the deficiency and the feeling where he already feels the deficiency that he cannot work in order to bestow. Now we will explain what we asked about Arabi Yus's answer to Rab's question about why it is written that if a woman inseminates she delivers a male child, since the matter depends on the conception, and it should have said woman inseminates and conceives a male child. Rosie replied that from the day when the woman inseminates and conceives she has no other word in her mouth but whether her child will be a male. Asked what does he teach us? What the woman says according to what we have explained about the order of the work. Interpret: a woman inseminates mean the person who buries their self-love in the ground so that a male will grow out of it, meaning that he will be rewarded with a desire to bestow it follows as soon as he begins to work of obtaining the desire to bestow a woman, inseminates the work in this direction begins, and he begins to say, I wish I will deliver a male. We must go through a process of lowing self, love and feeling the measure of evil found in self. Love is not enough to decide not to go on the path one is used to marrying on, and one wants to change one's habits. Him the measure of the harm self-love causes him be revealed to him only by seeing what he is losing can he be certain that he will not regret it. Midway this is similar to the sentence concerning a stranger who comes to convert. Ses said stranger who comes to convert is told, what did you see that you have come to convert? Don't you know that these days Israel are afflicted? And Idrash interpreted this as in and worst as thede and cd. If he said I know and I'm not worthy, he is accepted at once. The great book of wrote the reason is that he will not say afterwards, had I known I would not have converted. Wanting to exit self-love and begin the work of bestow is similar to leaving all the states in which he lives, dropping everything off and entering an area where he has never been. For this reason, he must go through conception and months of pregnancy until he has the ability to acquire new qualities which are foreign to the spirit he has received since he was born. Until now, everything he has received from the environment which he grew up and which reared him with their views and thoughts was entirely on the basis of self-love. He always thought about controlling others, and where he thought he would find a place where he could control, he realized it is worth an effort since it yields pleasure to the will to receive. The majority supported him. This is regarded as receiving strength for his aspirations from the public, meaning he saw that everyone behaved this way. The body knew that it was worthwhile to exert in order to acquire power or respect or money. Everything was directed on one line, called the desire to fill his vessel is called self-love. But now that he has come to convert, meaning to exit self-love, it follows that where he was thinking about controlling others, now he's told that he must make every effort to control himself, and it is forbidden to control others. Where each day he contemplated how much he has gained that day which he put into the bag of self-love, now he told that he should contemplate each day how much profit he has gained that he can put in the bag of love of others. Should interpret what is said to one who comes to convert. It means that the person who was until now like a Gentile, as it is written, and they mingled with the nations and learned from their works. The Holy Zed says, every person is a small world in and of himself, namely that each person consists of the 17 nations which correspond to 7 qualities, each of which consists of 10. This is why they are called 17 nations, and the Israel in him is in exile under the rule of the nations. Therefore, when a person comes to take on himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven and exit the exile to which he surrendered and to whom he listened until now, he had to do whatever they asked of him, thought that this is how it should be. Point in the heart has awakened in him, and now he has come to work for the Creator. The nations not humiliate the Israel in you. This means that your body still did not resist, but now you want to be Israel while you still have not emerged from their governance. The Israel in you will not let you work in order to be still. Therefore, first you must think if you want to take upon yourself this great work, afterwards nations of the world to surrender, meaning the body. However, before he completes his work, he must go through months of pregnancy. This reason person is not told the real meaning of self-love. He must receive this knowledge, with which is months of pregnancy. This means that although it is told if a woman inseminates and delivers a male child, the truth is, as Arabi says, that it is not as people that as soon as you inseminate, meaning as soon as you decide to bury your will to receive, you deliver a male child. The matter depends on the pregnancy. This means that although he has agreed bury his will to receive, he still does not even know the real meaning of self-love. Knowing the real measure of the will to receive is not something that one can feel at once. The will to receive must be qualified and prepared so that one would have the strength to relinquish real pleasures which are eternal. Pleasures has no exercises to accustom himself each time with greater self-love. That is when a person begins the work of Bao is always given from above. Pleasures even in corporal things, so he accustoms himself to relinquish pleasures and receive them only in order to be. Now we can understand what our sages said, that to the wicked the evil inclination seems like a hair's breadth, and to the righteous as a high mountain. We asked, is there a difference in reality, since a person should be prepared to have the ability to receive the eternal pleasures in order to bestow? He always given more pleasure in everything is exercises to learn how to use his essence of reception, the will to receive and still be able to receive it in order to bestow, and otherwise he will relinquish this great pleasure. It follows that he must go through 9 months of pregnancy, by which he acquires strength called the desire to bestow. He sees that something disrupts the desire to bestow. He has the power to repel it, and then called believers a male child. That is once he has been through the process of months of pregnancy and not in the middle of the work, meaning that as soon as he begins the work he wants to see the power of pistol that he has attained, and otherwise he's angry. Says, I've already started the work of sowing, so where are the fruits that I should obtain? Explains about it that a woman from the day she conceives to the day she delivers has no other word in her mouth but whether her child will be a male. This means that although she has not delivered, yet she cannot wait and wants to deliver right away. For done. What do you think, Jen? Yes, good morning. Rar. Sometimes I don't know if sometimes I think this is the first time that there is a feeling that we read such a long article, and it's as if you hear it not with your ears, but in the ears of some common vessel. Otherwise there's no possibility to contain this whole thing, this entire process that Rabash describes here. It's just an impression. I don't know, but what is that? State that too is a good impression, or yes, and the impression is what would we do without Rabash, who reveals to us the laws of the spiritual reality and really gratitude that arranged such a teacher who simply opens up. Mean it seems like until now the age of duality was, how was it even possible to understand anything about the trap? The way he reveals it, it's as though he's revealing too much already, like we can't chew up more scrutiny of what a person is, what he lacks, what is the work, and I really wonder, and it also brings up a question, if there's anything more than we that we should still scrutinize beyond. But he writes here in such a simple way. Again, yes, 10. Yes, sir, show. Can I ask a question? Ask my impression from the article. The great importance is to detect what state a person is in intention in order to receive, or the intention in order to bestow. And I have a question. We see that in the society we make many actions, and these actions are praised. Sometimes we praise these things, we see them as examples, or they tend share their impressions, and there are two sides to it. One is those who listen to what the friends are saying, and they receive from it some inspiration and strength, and two is those who actually did those actions, and the question is those who did the actions, what for them, while they have not yet reached spiritual attainment, what for them is the good result of this process. One is the greatness and joy that they seemingly perform, the two are increasing the deficiency that actually they discovered that everything we did was out of the will to receive, and now we have what to keep working on. So who is more advancing? I'm talking about the ones who are doing the process, not the ones who watch what what have been told about others, watching others. That's part of our work in the society. I'm talking about the ones who did it. I did an act of dissemination. It was wonderful. I feel in the sky is the good result that suddenly I'll awaken and realize that I did it all in order to receive, or actually feel that I'm already in the spiritual world, even though I'm not there. Which of these is more advanced? Who's more advanced? And no, well, give us an answer. Apparently the revelation of the truth is more advanced, that all of my Ainers are only in order to receive yes to me. It depends on the state of the person on the path is in a state where he can bring in that scrutiny that will advance him, or it might kill him even more and bury him in the ground, and he might quit altogether and meet him. Yes, this is exactly the matter that Rabash brings up. Here the matter of sowing, is it a seed of a male or a seed of a female? What was the intention behind the react if it was done with the intention to expand the vessel of the female? Then one discovers the evil meaning. Deficiency sees that the situation, the state he achieved suddenly, he sees that he did not obtain anything, so it's a revelation of evil. It upbrings him to a state of searching onward how to change the intentions of all the X, that is, doing this is what he was asking. And through all of his actions, what did he obtain? What kind of a vessel? Again, yes, I think that both states have to exist in the beginning to be happy and be grateful, even though he knows it's in order to receive. But the fact that he was given an opportunity to even engage and stow, and later on, first of all, you have to be grateful and then start all the scrutiny of what was the intention and discover that. But I mean, it's not a contradiction. It's, as we learned, Rob, yes, go by the laws of kindness. Yes, according to the article May's question, we should take every moment in life and harness it towards achieving a deficiency that we don't have. We don't have this lack, and we need to have this lack, and the whole all is really around that, how to sow and all of the details. So that's the question. Really, how do we use everything that happens to us in life, whether it is during the lesson, during the work in the 10, or in general, all the time, only for that he will have our LCK that we don't have. LB, still we begin from something that's opposite that we all want. We only want to receive, and bit by bit we come to a state where we want to receive less and less, and then there's more and more urgency to reach ball, and this is essentially the months of pregnancy. Can yes, he describes here that there is a moment of a decision. A person decides to bury his will say yes, and then he decided later on he actually start to increase his pleasure from corporal pleasure, so it doesn't happen immediately. So this decision is such that we have to accept it each time a new right. It's not a one-time decision. I decided once and that's it. So each time we have to renew this decision. So maybe the question should be about that, how do we renew this decision each time, not just one time momentarily, but well, yes, who is there? I have this confusion about the article compared to the article of he writes that the essence of things does not change meaning from the wheat. Nothing else grow except for wheat. The only difference can be in terms of quantity, but here writes that the essence itself can change. I realize that there is a deep meaning here that I can't really grasp, but superficially, these two things seem to contradict each other. So can you clarify it, please? No, this is that everything follows the deficiency that becomes revealed. Here is the question of how man's deficiency goes through all stages of development and comes from a will to receive to a will to bestow, from one end to the other in a gradual way. Can know in this process there is a critical point where person has to agree to bury his will to receive, but it doesn't yet know what is the true meaning of self. Love, how do we take the decision to move and give up on my nature, but I don't know at all towards what I'm heading. Correct, this is why this process is a gradual process. A little bit is uncovered to the person. He keeps going, then a little bit more, and so forth. We take initial steps on this path of self-love, but for incorrect reasons, because of pride, because of honor, which are not the right reasons. Certainly, we begin from what's called lish. Still every day a person feels tea, because he doesn't know what the next state of being with vess of his looks like. He has no idea, but he is adding. Continues, but still there's always a doubt when you're walking on path. You perform actions, and there always doubt next to it, because you don't know where you're hitting. Yes, so what seemingly if one will receive some answer from above and receive a picture of what it looks like to be bestowed will spoil. This is why it all happens gradually. Want I hope I'll be able to ask correctly will to receive. He is in an environment of bestowers, and he says, I want to be like everyone else, I want to reach, and he start to walk on the path, and he decides that he's going to try to bestow, and what Rash explains to us here is that his will to receive is actually enlarged in this process of enlarging. The will to receive, if a person truly adheres to his environment strongly enough, when he still continues to want to bestow as if he had a small desire to bestow, and now he gets a bigger desire to bestow. So the question really is, so I don't have anything because I don't have a vessel of pistol, but I want to bestow. Is this called a vessel of pistol? Or is there something else that in the end is called the vessel of pistol that we should achieve? Hopefully the question was clear. Okay, we heard, yes, there is this matter of the pleasure, and I have problem with where do I place the pleasure, because I'm motivated by pleasure. In the meals I feel pleasure, with the friends I feel pleasure. Where do I place this pleasure in order to be in the right direction? Do I choose where the pleasure comes? I wish I could know to choose where to place the pleasure, but what I'm inside of the pleasure, there is a dilemma. Is it in my will to receive? Can it lead me to the will to that's with that same pleasure? Meaning I have a problem, and it also stops my pleasure sometimes when I tell myself maybe this pleasure absolutely from the will to receive this is why you're here. So it also, and here Rash talks about pleasures by other person. So if I can get some direction from you, some guidance. Okay, so right now I'm enjoying, and I need to direct this in a certain direction, or maybe pass it on. I don't know how to give examples that the pleasure itself will direct me to be in the right pleasure. Do we advance by pleasure? I personally think that yes, because I realize that pleasure moves me. This is what brings me here to the lessons, to the friends, to the meals. What do you think? Come on, who advances the person pleasure, or the revelation of the control of the pleasure? What yes promote us is only if we recognize that the pleasure actually harms us, as he writes in the article. So if he feels how much harm self-love gives us, then one can advance. I haven't seen so many people who advance from discovering the evil in receiving pleasure. Yes, advancement we mean towards achieving a deficiency for spirituality. Yes, so what can promote us if one only looks at the feeling? How can he advance if the feeling is feeling? Another way he writes that the deficiency should be the feeling. No, yes. So how does he decide? He doesn't decide. He needs an environment that will decide for him. An environment will decide. Then what about the person? Nothing. He just clay in the hands of the potter. He just decides in advance that the environment will decide for him, and then he can advance. Can we need a deficiency? The right deficiency meaning understand from the incorporation in the environment. I gradually see that I'm lacking something that I don't have. I'm lacking a certain deficiency that isn't in me naturally, and that's what I'm trying to attain. Pleasure and deficiency are like the RS that are it's a derivative of this. What the deficiencies that I want to attain through the deficiency and pleasure that I already have. And what do you think? There's the matter of despair from the deception of this world that gives a person the forces to go to a place where he feels that there is truth even though it's not clear and unknown. The rejection from the emptiness of this world gives a person enough forces to go to a different place that it's like suffering that pushes a person to move. Okay, I think the pleasure of bestow helps a person advance. Give it to him through it in none else that we advance by two forces. One brings closer and one rejects. We can hasten our development through connection. The more we connect, we draw the light, we understand better. That's it. Again, yes, there are two things that move a person, and fear and love. I wouldn't relinquish any one of them in order to advance to the goal. Yes, he writes that the prayer is the work in the heart, and specifically through that prayer you can awaken the right deficiency for the work, but always feels that when you want to come and pray you're demanding a fulfillment. So how do you pray correctly? How do you really work with the heart? That the heart will demand, and not just the mouth. Yeah, it's a question. So what do we do? How can I finally be concerned that it's my heart that will pray, that it will work, and not just desires that confuse him on the path? Is there such a state that the heart and mouth become equal or will always not be an influencing a person you need to work on it, so can they become equal the heart and mouth, or is it theoretically yes? Is there something here that it means that the deficiency is a fulfillment, so eventually a person gets a deficiency and that is the fulfillment, meaning a deficiency to be still right happens afterwards, so have the deficiency, where is the quality to bestow after that? How can a person advance? Now I have a deficiency, what next you can work with it? No, does that meanwhile how do I work with a deficiency when I have a deficiency to bestow? But that's the filling, the deficiency is the filling. I got a deficiency and that's a fulfillment, so I'm blocked. No, that's what's written. No, that I can't work with it. On the contrary, now I can develop it, meaning work with a new deficiency. Okay, to okay, thank you. No. Well, is there an example in our world that a person wants a deficiency? There's no such thing, right? Even for something corporeal like to ask for a desire. I see people going into drug stores buying all kinds of drugs to awaken in them the deficiency, food for sex, for family, all kinds of pleasures that can be mainly it's food and sex. Advertise that you have this a kind of drug that gives you the desire for food and for sex. You'll see how many people will depiction of wanting a spiritual desire. So right away think of a fulfillment at being in a deficiency and knowing how to satisfy the deficiency are two different things. Ask another question. He says that recognition of evil, just that damage can throw a person out in the end, where he understands how harmful it is for him, will save a person. Faith in the greatness of the Creator, or to see the destruction that the evil brings, what will take him out of this mud? Only a desire for connection, for adhesion with the Creator. We all want that for 20 years. What eventually? No, that's not regarded as a deficiency. What you want is not regarded as a deficiency, so the deficiency is only when you feel that the ego is better, until the Creator is great, until you cannot sleep, until it doesn't let you sleep. No, yeah, so the deficiency is a decision. A deficiency is the revelation of the vessel, what connects between the decision and the decree, as he writes here that there's a decision called sowing and there's a decree, which that's what the Creator decides. Yes, what connects between them I don't know. Ask the friends. What is he asking? He's saying that it's written that there's what a person does, the action, and then he waits for the Creator to decide that will be a male. Yes, so he's asking what is the connection between the decision of the person and the decision of the Creator, that he determines that it's going to be a male. You'll have to insist on it very strongly in order to prove to the Creator that your desire is a real desire. Okay, next. Yes, is that scrutiny with the prolight within you, that even though you tell it, we are going on the path of suffering, and it's not easy, and the work is hard, he still wants to receive it upon himself. What is that force that pushes them, even though there's hard work? But you do want to walk their path, the route of their soul, so there's additional force beyond the pleasure and pain in the soul. There is a point that is a little more internal, which pushes a person toward bestow. Thank you. It doesn't let him stop and swap it for something else more. Speaks about the incorporation of the measure of judgment and mercy, and he says that if a person was rewarded so that judgment is concealed, what is the purpose of it if it's concealed? That it sits there, it's present, and a person feels it, but it's still not revealed. Is there some kind of work with it? No, keeping it concealed. And if a person is constantly in the revealed quality of mercy, so how does he search for the next deficiency? How can he constantly? He advances only through the society. He needs some force of himself by which he can advance. How does he open up even more towards society to get more and more of a deficiency all the time? This is the work in the society, in the group. There's like a point that we say that we have to be delighted in a mercy, wanting mercy, how to combine wanting mercy and still have a deficiency. Incorporation of your vessels with the vessels of their friends. I see. Thank you. In corporation, Latin 24. Women, how to give birth to a male and to constantly have that desire, how to give birth to a male and have that desire constantly. It cannot be permanent, it has to develop. And in the development there's also the female force that's incorporated in the male. This is how it works. Okay, we also have mark. For the vessels of B, is that a corrected desire? Of, is that a corrected desire? Yes, in a state of conception, when we go through that state, and there's a feeling of great pressure on behalf of the creator, and there's like a feeling that you can't hold on to the state. Where do you take the forces to hold on? The source of strength is only the creator. Prayer for him through the 10, only prayer to the creator, only the prayer to the creator. Yes, what are we lacking in the connection between us, in the connection between us, to understand that only the connection between us, where we connect to one another, or more correctly will we make concessions to each other in order to be connected in those desires. In those desires we grow. This is what grows. Okay, thank you. Latin 24. Women, how can we work with the 10 with self-love and see what discern what the qualities of bestow are? Through group support we can scrutinize these things, try to think together, and you will see how it advances each one. For when is a woman's, does a woman's intention, is it directed to the creator, and afterwards is the freedom of choice on her. Again, 1 second, when a woman is fertilized for the first time, is her intention in the hands of the creator? Afterwards, is it free choice in a person's intention, her intention to the creator? Yes, where is the freedom of choice after she conceived? Yet after the conception there's no free choice. She constantly has to be directed toward one thing, toward the fetus. Said that's it. What else do we have? We have either test part 10 or the article body and soul, body and soul. Yeah, we didn't finish it. We in the subtitle revealed and concealed. We have a little bit left now. Okay, so wait, first of all we had blues. They're not there now, they there. Okay, Holland, good morning. Derar, morning. To be able to deliver a male child, meaning vessel of bull. What is the difference between, let's say, the phase of conception and pregnancy when we're talking about intention? Is there a different sort of intention there? Obviously. Why is he asking? Of course. Yes, well, is there a different sort of intention, let's say, in the conception phase compared to the pregnancy phase? Different intention because it's different degrees, but it's the same intention toward connection and toward this doll. That's clear. Let's say, what is specific difference, let's say, in this degree? What do we learn, let's say, from, let's say, the phase of conception to pregnancy? What is the difference in the work, let's say, in the 10? That depends already on the vessels of the woman which the creator awakens in her. It has to be 3 times 3 months in. Here there are many things. Here MHM, yeah, interesting to scrutinize more. Yeah, thank you. Are what does it mean? Conception in the 10 and birth on the next degree in the 10. If you could explain the whole process. The desire of a person when it connects to other desires through their air light, which influences them, and they rise together to common bestow between them, mutual bestow. Then out of the mutual desire to bestow there begins to be born what is called a spiritual fetus, spiritual embryo, and it begins to develop. In its development it goes through phases. There are phases called days, weeks, months, and this is how it develops. Basically, it is all on the backdrop of self-annulment, out of self-annulment connection with the others. More and more of it we will study it on this part. No, if I could ask another question, the root of the soul is that the initial plan of, so what is a hastening the time in where 10 in the work in the 10 we on the first records that are in each of us, so to speak, and achieve the first connection, and this is already called the beginning of the the impregnation. Okay, we have women, and see, when a person wants to become Israel, but understand that the body won't let him work in order to bestow what is his request from the creator to adhere to the friends to get a new deficiency. That's how he learns to work with his body. If he has more of a deficiency, will he have more of a possibility to bestow, to advance? Of course not. He won't even be able, even with a efficiency that he has now, he won't be able to advance. So if he has a bigger deficiency, how will he do it? Therefore, we want more of our connection and the tendency toward the goal leaning toward the goal, and then we hope that we can pray to the Creator to be able to rise above our initial state. This is the hardest thing. Disconnect from the ground and begin like a rocket. To Turkey 4. Okay, Turkey 4. We were saying that we were speaking about how a person has to ask and receive deficiencies. So the question is, how can a person feel a need for deficiency he doesn't have if among people who have different needs than his own, and those needs are big, and he respects them, then he gradually absorbs from them their deficiencies and then realizes them. Yes, so it all depends on incorporation. If my friends have vessels, my actions have to incorporate with them, and then I also get vessels of their. Yes, it's like a virus. It catches on from one person to the next. Give one what to do that in our mutual common desire this embryo will be conceived. How to reach that? The problem is that we still don't have a common deficiency, something warm that we can nurture the one desire only for the Creator, and everyone wants it and is concerned only with it. This is the problem. This is what each group needs to worry about. What does it mean, minimal common desire? How do we reach it? We talk about it a lot. All the friends are investing in it, but how to reach that minimum common desire? Your own egoism, and try to disconnect from it in every possible way. No, good morning, teacher. In all of the work that you described, that he came to the group, started working on his first records in this whole process. When does a person start understanding what the meaning of life is, what he's living for? Why did he come to this creation? Yeah, for what? Why are we here? Why are we living for? What, in order to achieve adhesion with the Creator? Okay, how to be similar to him. This reason, how does it? How do you discover it? I understood that. I heard the sentence. How do you implement it? Realize it. You have to hear it more and more from the friends, but that's a general question you're giving to adhere to the Creator. That's all of creation is on the way. There I'm asking, why am I here to make it? He didn't need me. You're here because the Creator wants you to come closer to him, to approach him. There's room, place. There's a place, maybe several places in the world where a person can develop the senses with which to approach the Creator. It's not about sitting in your car something and driving to the Creator. It's a matter of internal development, how much you can approach him, come closer to him, feel him. This is what we're learning. I didn't ask about the general purpose. I'm asking, why am I here? You are here because the Creator brought you through all kinds of wires along the way to, because precisely here is probably where you need to see your connection to the Creator. He said that every sea will discover his purpose, his role. He know his what his role is from his soul. So it's probably not the end still. We're in the end. I'm asking you, when do I understand this reason? What my place is, what I'm supposed to give. You need to pray, to ask, to cry, to scream. Turn to the Creator and I reveal this a deficiency. What can you do? This is what we have. You know your role, or you always discover additional things. It's also not locked. I understand I have to appear here every day and awaken you. Yes, so the awakening we have is from you, not from us. No, it's from the Creator. From the Creator I don't awaken you. Yeah, it'll be good. There's nothing you can do. Just continue, keep going. Yes, about the article, he says that the Creator has a decree on the job, if it's a male or female. So who determines that? The Creator or a man? The Creator. So where is the man? Where is the person here? What do you need of them? I don't know. There are many, all kinds of chapters and all kinds of books that talk about it, how to direct it so that you have a male child to get your wife pregnant. What do my intentions matter if the Creator decides everything? We always have a question about that, a general question about the essence of creation, and a personal question about every movement we take. And what's the answer? That the Creator is setting up all the conditions. All are conditions in life, every single second, but a person still has to determine. Can thank you inseminated is that the scrutiny on a person's intention, because a female can be born or the male can be born, which bestows in the intention to bestow. That's what I understand. Yes, so the person doesn't have efficient. He starts from completely receiving with his will to receive, and he says in the article that there's a deficiency to bestow, and before that there's a Deficiency for a deficiency to be still. So the question is the one who becomes pregnant like the PR speaking about, so he starts with a deficiency to a deficiency to be, or when he's born he already has that deficiency. Where is this within him? He already has a record that can be revealed, a record of bestow. He says that you even need a deficiency for a deficiency to be asked the Creator to give that to you. Yes, so let's say a person enters our environment with it. He said it's not the end of the path, that you still have 9 months of pregnancy that you have to discover receiving for himself is garbage, and then he keeps developing so on behalf of the person that's in the environment. What does he need? That it won't be for nothing, it'll develop and be kept check himself all the time and clean himself up from the waste that he'll discover and cling to the society. In that same point, you keep cleaning from the waste, and that's how you'll develop in the end. There's a need is born in a person that he won't want any desire except if it's in order to bestow. That's a spiritual birth, that he can push away desires that aren't to bestow. The first desire that is in order to bestow, that's the birth. But before that you have the 9 months of pregnancy, where there are scrutinies, such scrutinies that are it's only from experience, only from the work on the path can we understand increases the pleasures. And that's yes, of course it is the birth of their screen. Yes, Jack of the vessel CAU, a deficiency is a deficiency in his feeling that he doesn't feel that deficiency, so about that the fact that we're lacking a feeling mentions the difference between what's lacking in the heart to knowing in the mind. Where we finished the article, he said how we really have everything, that our teachers prepared everything for us, chewed it up, and it's all prepared. And I wanted to ask, how can we go from knowledge that a person has all the condition lover group in books to a feeling in the heart that he appreciates it, that he gets excited from it, and it's like a child that you tell him he knows in his mind how his parents are cooking and he has a home and everything, and they tell him value this, appreciate it. How do you reach this feeling in the heart that we have all these conditions? It's a development, there's nothing you can do, you need to gradually attain all your roots. What does it mean to attain the roots? From where everything comes, why it comes, what it gives you, who is responsible for it, what you need to do. It is the recognition of our life. So there's the feeling, if it comes, you can't do something for it to come, you can rush it, and you can create the conditions for yes to learn about it, talk about it, read about it, bring reforming lights for it. We know that our strongest instrument is the 10. How does the 10 awaken a feeling in a person? Every 10 in general wants to advance and is drawn to the purpose of life, depends on a person more as much as he is adhered to it and wants to implement those actions the system constantly gives us. You have conferences, you have lessons, we get clips. The system keeps it for us, so we advance in spirituality. So I'm asking again, what does a person need in order to maybe feel at the end of the day? You know, sometimes there are methods that tell you make a list of the good things you have, like in relationships. Sit down and make a list and look at the POS things you get from your wife, and that's in order to come to appreciate. So again, how do we come to feel and appreciate in the heart? Prayer, we need a prayer, a person he's also not responsible for his emotions on his senses and how they get inspired and from what he needs. Prayer needs to hurt him that he doesn't feel in order to come to a prayer. Also, yes, thank you, me. Women from Women Brazil won the text. Said that a person should bury the woman, which is a will to receive for himself in order to get rid of self-love. The question is, what does it mean to bury self-love in order to engender love? Others 2, 3, 4 or love this one and hate that one. The best thing is if there is one feeling, so in that way we have to conduct ourselves. That connecting to some tendencies, some desires and intentions, some image, and constantly drawn towards it, and the rest of the things around. I also, in that same force, I want to stay away from. That's how a person reaches a state that he has one strong desire. In other words, in the with importance I bury the rest of the desires that are less important. Yes, from Women PT6 should the 10 show examples of best and also examples of sliding the will to receive. No, we're not doing exercises how To show everybody how to disregard the world, to receive we don't disregard at all, not better, to show examples of how to love the W, to bestow, to belong to it, to be devoted to. Iton women MOS said we have to insist very strongly on proving and try to prove the Creator that our desire is real. In the 10, how do we prove to the Creator that our desire is real? We pray for it, connect between us and pray to it, pray to Him to help us. Women P23, what does it mean that it's written that a person has no complaints to the Creator because it gives a person what a person wants, and before that it's written that He gives a person the force of reception, force of bestow. If a person wants a force of reception, is this what the Creator gives? As well, of course, how to take a person from one state to the next, from one degree to the next, only by changing his desire in a gradual way. Women the text writes there's no word in her mouth except whether her newborn will be a male. What does that mean? That the forces in us want to be connected to bestow. That's why we are already on this path. They rejected, pushed us towards this path, and we need to keep going to continue. Women from Women Turkey 6, can we say that a person reaches the right deficiency through the great yearning for the Creator? Turning to the Creator, we can reach everything. The question is, how do we do it? But the yearning for the Creator is the main thing. I'd say it's the reason for everything. Yeah. Final question from PT6, general question about how will the society and the connection between us change when we begin to work with our intentions. Understand how will the connection between us in the society change if we students begin to work with the intentions, so we'll support each other in order for all of us together. We will be as something, an assembly, composition, a composition will be in such a way that we will be like a sphere that will rise more and more and more towards Him. Thank you, Kay. It's written in the beginning there are 3 partners in a person: the Creator, His Father, and His Mother. The Creator is the force, His Father brings the white and the mother the red. What are these 2 forces? What's the red and what's the white? I say it's natural forces that exist in a person. They comprise the flesh that is ready to also incorporate in it the bestow from the Creator, and in the white and red what they give the mother and father. The Creator gives something internal, the soul, and then this flesh can start developing according to the records that are in the inner light. That's it. More. Yeah. In the article it says that he needs to prepare his desire. How does that happen? In order to adapt what's in the records and what bestows upon them. Yes. There was someone else here. Ken, thank you. I want to ask about months of pregnancy. He writes in the end that he must go through 9 months of pregnancy, by which he acquires a force called desire to bestow. For if he sees that there's something that disrupts the desire to bestow, he has the strength to repel it, and this is called giving birth to a male. What are these 9 months of pregnancy, and how do we work with it? We need to advance and come in, bestow in the connection between us, and build such connections between us that are more and more complex and more exalted until we reach the state that we feel inside of us the first revelation of the Creator, that's called that the embryo is ready for birth. I know it's my corruption, but all the work that's said is the work between us in the 10 among the friends. Right? Why do I always feel like it's my own personal work? That's how it is, 'cause you're not connected to the others. Okay, so that's a problem. How do I come this? Because each time I think I'm working, I do connect, and then I discover, according to the article, I only want my own self love. Yeah, we can't depict all our spiritual work and forces, and in the styles of connection between us. It's not simple. It depends on the delicacy of the soul. Can you give me a tiny exercise for the day so I can work on it with 10 with everybody? You can. Please, tiny exercise. What do I do? What you are constantly depicting to yourself, what it means to grow in society, to incorporate in society. That is what we need to do, such exercises of incorporation. Again, thank you. In the male and female, he says we have to determine the female in the process and revive, bury the female and revive the male in the father and mother. The female is the crown of the home. She's guarded in way she conceives. How in this process go through the point where I guard the impregnated woman, the male guards Where female, I don't think we have an ability to scrutinize it yet. K. Yeah, continue in a continuation to what you said before. What does it mean to grow within the friends that you feel that you're incorporated in them? You're a result of their incorporation in you, that you are just that center that they are incorporated in you. And even though that center is unique because it's on your records, you're the rest of the forces you get from them and the incorporation between them. Why specifically with might will I discover the inner place, the creator wherever you work, where you work and keep working, and it's very difficult to go from one thing to another spiritually, meaning it's not simple. We have a few questions from the women here. Women Crane 2. I heard you say to feel the deficiency and to know how to satisfy it are two different things. What does it mean when it says feeling the deficiency is the feeling that's where we yearn for something, and our yearning depends on our desire. So the feeling of the yearning already fills us. Woman French a lot. Hello world. Question from a friend: is it more important for me to ask for a spiritual deficiency or to ask to have for the friend to have a spiritual deficiency, or for the tend to have a common desire, or maybe for humanity to have a desire for spirituality? Is there an order in the request for deficiency? The order is from easy to more complex to difficult, and that's how it happens in all of humanity. Is the easy part, is it the personal deficiency that's easy, or is there a different kind of easy? What do you begin? The easiest deficiency is a deficiency that everybody anals one to another, then we can all adhere to the creator. That is the most important point, that we start with the center of everything. Woman Latin Women Latin 10 is how to obtain the deficiency between judgments and mercy, because in this combination there is a deficiency that can lead us to the goal more quickly. In combination between judgment and mercy, between judgment and mercy, yes, but it's very complicated. It's not simple. We are not learning that yet. Time will come for it. We'll learn it more when we learn about the 3 lines in our development. 1 Mo 67. Good morning, dear teacher. Tell me, please, in the spiritual world, is here a state of abortion or losing the embryo? Is it the qualities of reception for ourselves? Is it about turning them to bestow in spirituality? It's when the womb can't keep the fruit on its their miscarriage. It's when the external forces work on the embryo, when they just remove it below their influence. The woman in that state can influence the process, or is it all controlled by the creator? Spiritually, she earns for her correct state. She will be able to be still on her health in a positive way. Thank you very much. I don't see any women, so we have Macau to New York, to New York. To thank you, Rob. When we begin on the path and start to pray for the deficiency to bestow, is it possible to actually make this prayer from the heart at that initial stage? Yes, try even now. Sit together and pray. In the beginning you can take some text. They can be psalms or, well, whatever you want, maybe a small article from, and then from yourself more and more. And please, if I can continue, what does it mean from the mouth? In that case, what's the distinction there from the heart, from the mouth? Prayer from the mouth is the prayer of their collective. You just read what's in the book, and the heart is what's written on your heart. It depends where a person is reading. From Women Mossel. Good morning, everyone. Question from a friend: if the deficiency itself is the feeling, so what's important for me to feel a deficiency for adhesion with a creator, or to feel pleasure in that desire? That's something you have to feel on your own. Asher, I'm a bit confused. Is the imp, can we say that the woman is a desire to receive, a will to receive? In which case, what is she impregnated with? Yes, what is she impregnated with? From the seed of the male. There are records from a male and from a female. Then she's incorporated from those records and starts scrutinizing them, and she keeps getting impregnated from them, and that develops into an embryo. That's when the embryo comes. Is that the intention to receive for myself, or the intention to bestow? Can we say that the embryo that's a problem? What are we talking about? Spirituality or corporality? If about corporality, obviously the embryo is a just as we see. It can be male or female. spirituality scrutiny is more difficult. The main thing is that we need to be in our scrutinies to connect as much as possible through the group to the Creator, and that will filter all of the incorrect thoughts, the ones that shouldn't be, and it will bring us the right advancement called the months of pregnancy, then the birth itself, then revelation more and more in the years of the embryo can thank you. I heard that the birth is the birth of the screen, the revelation of the create is it at the phase of impregnation or at the phase of birth. Revelation of the Creator is according to the state of the embryo. Impregnation is it a state when a person knows he's in it, or is he still he knows but in somewhat during the 9 months of pregnancy when a person still doesn't have a deficiency. For a B, is this called a spiritual state? What's a spiritual state when he already has a deficiency? For bestow, yes, so it turns out that impregnation when he still doesn't have a deficiency. For bestow, he's still working on obtaining the deficiency for bestow, so that state precedes spirituality. No, not before spirituality. It's part of spirituality. What is the difference between a stage where a person tries to work on love of friends according to what he understands in his will to receive, discovers that his will to receive is growing, he tries to pray, it's all inside his will to receive, and the 9 months of pregnancy he's describing here, which is seemingly describing here on the same process, but one is spiritual and one is before spirituality. Both of them is the W to receive, that is going through changes towards the recognition, knowing himself, and birth. Will we at some point know that we are in a process of impregnation, or will it be a direct continuation of working on our friends, discovering to receive, praying as much as you connect between you will be able to see in what system of impregnation you exist in. Thank you both praises the woman and also kind of diminishes that the female belittles it. He says bury the female, no ignore her. On the other hand, it says a woman, if she inseminates first, a male is born. So as one who comes home to a woman, I'd like to ask you, how do I raise the status of the woman? Because I heard you say many times that the woman is the one who brings the man into spirituality. Yes, we need to bring with us, if we're already speaking about coming back to the family, we have to bring good spirits that the love will be felt in him, and understanding to the place that the woman is in our life with no doubt, even though the male is supposedly stronger, or maybe supposedly does more things in his life, but the main thing that happens is through the woman, as much as the Creator awakens in a man a desire for the woman realizes that desire of the man and directs him towards birth, and that truly is a very important role, similar to the Creator, That's why we need to give it a place to give gratitude, even though we say every morning, thank you for not creating me a woman in the prayers of the morning, and the woman says thank you for making me as you. Well, but along with that, we really need to give gratitude to the woman for her role in the world. Yes, you have something to come back with. Yes, can I ask Gad to read the paragraph? Real knowledge of the nature of the will to receive person cannot feel it at once, because a matter of the will to receive must be qualified and prepared. So we will have the strength to relinquish real pleasure, which is a spiritual pleasure, if he has no exercises with which to accustom himself each time in greater self-love. Meaning, when a person begins to enter the work of bestow, then from above he is given more pleasure each time, even in corporeal things, so is to accustom himself to relinquishing pleasures and not to receive them unless in order to. I want to ask about these concessions. It's not clear, where do they happen? I don't see myself relinquishing pleasures. I see I live in more or less necessity. The center of my life is here, the work and the 10, but to say that I'm relinquishing pleasures, or I even know what it means to relinquish a pleasure. How do I relinquish a pleasure? By you studying, and you're with us, so the scrutinies become you. No, not forcefully. By you studying with us, you scrutinize these things and put them this above this, below, and a few times a day. And that's why you don't have work at. Is that clear before you? That now you're overcoming this, and now you're doing this and that's against that, but it's more calm. Maybe you could say that. That's how you keep going, you flow, and that's from the incorporation and the environment, but it feels like I'm doing these scrutinies. In hindsight, there was our pleasure, then I can say, okay, maybe I could have relinquished that pleasure. I'm not walking around like a monkey, don't need to is against that, but is in accustoming himself to me. Concessions greater and greater pleasure so he can have the strength to relinquish an eternal pleasure, meaning I have to relinquish the highest, greatest pleasure. I have to relinquish that too. So what does it happen? What do these exercises happen when we scrutinize our desires, whether in awareness or not? So we reach states that they are all included towards the goal. He once told me to do things I didn't really want to and try to go exactly where there is resistance. Yeah, I can feel that. I can see that you can feel that scrutiny in the work with the friends in the tent, but to relinquish a pleasure you don't even know. Often when the pleasure comes, you're already receiving it, and then you start thinking, okay, maybe I should give it up. What do I do? How do you relinquish a pleasure? Keep going. Don't worry the fact that you are here every day and incorporated in the scrutiny of each and every article that works on you. Really, yeah, here was his meaning, that he tries to feel that self-love is as loam as waste, as trash. He wants his self-love to be to think that's called the woman, and so what does it mean that self-love is as loam in his eyes, as trash, as waste? Is there something we can do for it? I think that sentence is clear. More detailed is the action that's required. Here, let's say I have all kinds of doesn't this happen to me in life? Do I connect him to my being in the will to receive? Should I say yes, I say, and that will give me the feeling of how bad it is if I make these connections. You don't have to do such actions in order to say that it's your evil inclination. No, it's clear with the actions I'm talking about. The thoughts, maybe I should think and see that the damages I get in life are because of the will to receive. Previously, you said not to talk about these things, about how negative the will to receive is, but only about greatness. Yes, in our process of becoming a man, the greatest importance is to come to a state of embryo first. Yes, how do we come to being in the state of embryo? The main thing is not to disturb the other one to perform actions upon us. What he's doing on us, does it mean the action is annulment in the 10? That's the action annulment in the 10. In our spiritual process, it's not like a corporeal birth that happens once. There is impregnation and birth and death. How does it work in spirituality? You have several impregnations and births. There are the months of pregnancy, and in them there are more stages. That those 9 months are incorporated of 3 and 3 from the 3 days of the absorbing of the seed, 40 days of creating the embryo, all kinds of periods, and that's how we advance. When I come to such a deficiency, does the Creator help me come to a state of embryo? What is the process of wanting to be birth? I'm comfortable, I feel confident, I'm in. You want to anal towards the upper one in everything, even though in a state of embryo you don't have a desire to come out of the mother's we're not talking about that. We don't feel the womb coming out of the womb outside. Inside, no, I mean in state of embryo or fetus, you feel confidence, you feel that you're being cared for. Yes, so what makes you advance? What makes you want to grow to be in equivalence of for with the upper one, supposedly help him as much as he wants to perform actions in you? You are doing those actions from within yourself in order to help him. Is there a state called labor pains in spirituality? Of course, everything we have in this world, we have it in spiritual birth. What are those pangs that come to a person? Those cramps in this world that push the embryo to come out through a passage, which is a narrow passage from the womb to outside of the woman's body. That's how it also is. That same with us about it. It's things that are clear to everyone. Yes, I'd like to ask about the greatness, but Rasha read the article only after I read it in English, and I felt the power. It's as if he made a kind of reverse engineering. How did he do it? He had a very special qual unification with the upper force. Yeah, he feels it in a true way. Can you explain it a little bit? No, I don't have the forces for that to interpret it. Okay, friends, I see that we're already about to go to sleep. So before you completely fall asleep, I want to say that the lesson has ended. What do we have today? We have a few announcements. Bayat will explain about our schedule, but before that I want to present to the friends the program that we're going to have over the coming 2 weeks. Before Purim will take place on March 23, we'll have a Unity evening, and beginning this week, we'll begin to study articles of Rush that concern two main topics. One is Shabbat. He has many articles who writes about the Shabbat Sabbath, and next week we'll study articles that focus on Purim, and we're doing all this as part of going over all the articles of Rash. We want to go over each and every article, not to skip any of them. This is going to happen beginning this week. From the beginning of the week, the peak of it will be on our Unity Day, which will be on March 23rd. The special thing about this Unity Day is it's a convention. It's a full day of content, 2 lessons with love meals, social time, many activities during the breaks, and all the content will be lit by our friends from the Israeli Sea. There will be a very big and festive gathering here, and also friends around the world are going to gather. Luckily, we can already say that we are beginning to look into Passover, which will happen on April 22, so we're beginning to do the preparations how to do Passover in the best way. So we're going to go into a period of events, very intense lessons and special ones we'll get through in